Good morning. Welcome to SoulCall Sunday. I am Lisa Ferraro, founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Global. And we welcome you wherever you are on the planet this morning. And thank you for joining us. And if you have an opportunity, let us know where you're joining us from. We love to know these kinds of things. And take a moment to share us with your friends who might be awake on a Sunday morning. It's not necessarily early here in the Eastern time zone. But if you're joining us from out west, as many of you do, and from different parts of the world, it's kind of fun to hear from you. So thank you for that opportunity. This morning, as we wrap up the month of January, which is the month of the theme of growing the outer edge, and what that is, and the outer edge and the inner edge are the same depending on which direction you're going, right? So today, we're going to focus a little bit more on spiritual practice, spiritual awakening, and some out of the possibilities of so many different meanings. We'll just grab a few and invite you into the opportunity to dive deeper into your own soul's awakening, finding the one or two things that you can utilize on your path of awakening. And it's been said for thousands of years, this is nothing new. What I'm about to say is for every human being on the planet, that is the path to the infinite. You are always on a spiritual path. It's the awareness and the awakening that makes the shift into being more mindful as you practice this thing called life. Finding that joy we talked about last week, that joy, that inner peace, that bliss, taking the call from joy when it's trying to get through to you. So I invite you this week to join me in the exploration of a spiritual practice which leads to your spiritual awakening. And so to begin, as we generally do on SoulCall Sunday, we start with a practice of Qigong, which is an ancient form of Chinese meditation, where just the act of participating in it joins body, mind, spirit all together, which is what some of the most effective spiritual practices do. We are in our triune nature, body, mind, spirit, those that bring them all into alignment and not just entertain the senses in the outward material world. Those are the ones that help us make progress in the evolution of our own consciousness. So we invite this morning Sifu Helen Yi to engage us in a practice of Qigong. Welcome, Helen.
And from here, bringing your arms up, floating them up to shoulder height, opening up the lao gongs, bending the wrists at 90 degrees, and inhaling, drawing the chi inside of the body, feeling it filling up the cells and all the organs, extending out again, feeling the chi in the environment, in the universe, expanding out into the cosmos. Draw it into the center of the body and extending out again, making that macro connection with the microcosmic connection. Again, drawing it in. And extending out one more time. Relaxing the wrists. Bringing it out parallel to the body. Extending the wrist. Bending them at 90 degrees. Drawing the chi in. And expanding out. Feeling it all coming into the body. Enriching all the trillions of cells. And all the vital organs. Pushing out again. Becoming a sponge of bringing in all the chi, all that good vitality. Pushing out again. Relaxing the hands, drawing them down to about 20-degree angle, facing the palms to the back, balancing on the balls of your feet, raising up on the heels, drawing the fingers together, stepping down, flicking the hands out, concentrating on drawing all that chi up above the head, radiating it into the byway, the crown of the head, and now guiding that chi onto both sides of the body, nourishing the systems of the body, your cells, your muscles, your skin, your bones, feeling it in the eyes, in the nose, the mouth, the throat, your teeth, coming into your throat, feeling all this wonderful chi into the lungs, into the heart, into the tendons and the ligaments, into your stomach, to the liver, kidneys, gallbladder, all the way into the large and small intestines, just feeling it replenishing all your vitality, increasing all that energy. Bring up the hands again, inhaling, and again visualizing a purple light or a green glow, whatever feels most comfortable, and just seeing it radiating into all the trillions of cells, into all the meridian pathways, into all the areas of the arteries and veins, coming into all the vital systems of the body and the organs, feeling the nourishment, feeling all the blockages being pressed out, pushed down, opening all the meridian pathways, and relax.
Thank you, Helen. And just taking a deep breath in, breathing in the light, and exhaling love. If you make a practice when you're walking of just inhaling light and allowing it to teem through your body, just course through every cell, every vein, every artery, and exhale love. We can be the neutralizing force. Remember we talked about that? We can be the energy center of love. Breathing in the light, turning it the alchemy of our hearts, and breathing out love as we move into February. So spiritual practice, spiritual awareness. We're going to move into the February, which Hallmark has deemed, the month of love. Valentine's Day. Every day, every instant is the opportunity for love. So we don't have to wait until Valentine's Day, and I hope you don't. I don't. But it's fun to put a focus on different things at different times of the year so that we can carefully craft our consciousness in a way that helps us to grow it or to dismantle whatever came before that keeps it small. So today when we talk about spiritual practice, I chose to start this morning with a song called May I Hear Your Song, Glimpse the Divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever and ever, I pray. So allow this to breathe in the light, exhale the love, and allow yourself to expand into this precious period of time and allow the senses to delight in the beautiful bodies as it connects the thoughts served up by the mind and the spirit beyond thought. Enjoy.
May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. Holy, so holy, I surrender to your sacred way. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray.
Opening up into this moment, to the blessings that await us in our spiritual awakening. We open to be receptive to some new ideas today, perhaps, or to be reminded of things we've heard before, but ring through us in a different way as we prepare to open and expand and receive. Om. Amen. May I hear your song? It's so funny when I look at the intro of that beautiful video created by Natalia Zuckerman for Lisa and Erika. On the cover of that recording called Reflection, our names are reversed from the images. So if you didn't know who we were, it looks like Erika's Lisa and Lisa's Erika. And then I started to think about the place from which we operated and how it didn't matter who you were really speaking to. You were kind of getting the same experience on a soul level. Intellectually is different. Soul level, it was the same. And I think about spiritual practice and spiritual awakening in that way too. We hear a lot of things, and a lot of things said that we're all one. We are one. And intellectually, we take that message in a similar way. We know what we means in any language. If you speak your language, you know what the word we means. And we also know what the word one means. We are one. Intellectually, we can grasp the concept. Materially, as we show up in the world, we are definitely on one planet, even though rockets are exploring other opportunities on other planets. But in terms of the human race, we can say this is the planet we inhabit. So we are one people, one planet. But the we are one in spiritual consciousness implies something different. And I like to say we're not the New Thought movement. SoulCall Global is starting the No Thought movement. We're beyond the mind. Where the mind thinks of things, the soul volleys things into our consciousness and allows it to trickle through an open, pure mind. And that's what a great or an effective spiritual practice does for us. You know, I think about when I was in my 20s, I started the path of meditation, and a friend of mine gifted me a book called The Circle of Life. It's primarily a picture book, but it goes through all of the rituals and rites of passage from cultures all around the world. Fascinating book, and how different culture to culture, how differently they do things, of course, right? Just in the United States, all of the cultures that we get to experience in the same country is such a beautiful opportunity for us to recognize that we are one. Doesn't mean we do things the same way. But when we operate from that soul realization, that's where the oneness is realized. So this spiritual practice, this book, I was looking at it, and I have committed my life to the path of silent meditation, and it's done wonders for me. I found what I was in need of to help me grow in consciousness, the things that I was aware of. It could answer the questions. That was for me. But I was looking at this book, and there was one of these opportunities. One of the countries, people hang from, there's from shamanic practices, where like combines the descent into the underworld and the ascent back into heaven. But one of the practices from another country and another culture involved hanging from large meat hooks to prove the mind or the spiritual overcoming the body. And I was like, licked my fingers, turn the page on that one. I am glad that what resonates for me doesn't involve hanging from meat hooks for any extended period of time. I'm not saying that's not valued or not, there's not a place for it on the planet. I'm just saying that didn't resonate with me based on my life experience to that point. So the key here is there's no one way to do it. Find the thing that challenges you to think beyond the furthest thought of your imagination, and then to release thought into the trust with that unknown. The unknown doesn't imply that it's not knowable. We must remember that in a spiritual practice. It's not that the unknown is not knowable. It's just this dance, this cosmic dance on the edge. And so spiritual practice, spiritual awakening, awakens on the inside. We get to the inner edge, and then we go beyond and allow ourselves to open even further. So when we think of rituals, we think of the outer material rituals, like that book I was describing. The rituals of, for me, I grew up Catholic. I always knew that was not the thing for me. I didn't bother learning the fancy prayers. I talked to God from my own soul. Thank you very much. But there were rituals involved, baptism, communion, all of these things. And what struck me, though, was when I made my confirmation. We had to go at least through that far. And I thought it was weird that at a certain age, you are made to go through this process of confirming your faith as a Catholic. Now, nothing wrong with Catholicism if that's your path. That's great. But I was aware that it wasn't mine. But it didn't seem to matter or materialize because I was made to go through the process of saying that I was, even when inside I knew I wasn't. But I did it because I needed to live in the house I grew up in. My parents fed me, took care of me. It seemed like a minor thing, but it never left my consciousness that to the point where I could say this, and my best friend Linda Kernan from elementary school could back it up. I didn't bother learning all the prayers. I didn't want them in my mind. I didn't like them. So I cheated. I copied somebody else's confirmation, the paper, the written part. So I didn't really commit. I kind of got through it so that I could get through it, but I was never really committed as I am to the spiritual practice I have today. And I think that's the difference in the spiritual practice and spiritual awakening is recognizing when the thing you're doing, the practice you're committing to, is not just an outward appearance in front of other people, but it's the spiritual, meaning spirit ritual that works on the spirit of the consciousness, mind, body, spirit. So we have, if you think of it as in terms of school, perhaps your elementary school into high school, we had mind, body, spirit practices. Mind was the curriculum, the math, sciences, reading, learning how to facilitate life with information, shared information we're going to find useful. And maybe some of it not so useful later, but you get the picture. There was something to entertain the mind, stimulate the mind, grow the mind. Then there was something for the body, physical education, right? Then there was something for the spirit, the arts. If in reading you learned how to appreciate poetry, philosophy. So there's mind, body, spirit. But what ends up happening is there's very little to connect them all as beautifully as, say, our Qigong practice. So when our spiritual practice, this is the part where we work with the spirit rituals. Maybe the spirit ritual is meditation. For me, it is silent meditation. I turn off the senses and sit in the stillness. And when you reach a point, this is a quote that came to me this morning coming out of my meditation. When you reach a point in the evolution of your path or process of inner growth, outer rituals are no longer necessary. And the entire life, your entire life becomes a spiritual practice of awakening. And I'll say that again. When you reach a point in the evolution of your path or process of inner growth, outer rituals are no longer necessary. And your entire life becomes a spiritual practice of awakening. And it's kind of the reverse awakening from how we experience a physical awakening. I thought it was really interesting. Also coming out of meditation this morning, I thought about, do you ever have the feeling of your foot falling asleep or your leg falls asleep? Maybe you're practicing meditation in lotus posture and you go to get up and you realize, oh my God, my foot's asleep. I find it so funny to me that when my foot is asleep, it feels like needles and pins. I mean, it's numb, but you could feel that it's numb. And as it comes back to awakening, you could feel the life force going back into it in the form of needles and pins. But then when it's fully awake, it becomes calm again, like as if you don't even notice it's there. It's poised, it's calm, it's kind of perfect. Ease. And isn't the spiritual path like that sometimes? The spiritual awakening can feel like, I've been numb to the world for a long time. I've been numb to the power of my inner source of good. Yogananda calls this beautiful inside, our portable paradise. Once we become fully awakened in it, it's like that process of your leg, your consciousness was asleep. All of a sudden, it's numb and you recognize you've been numb. Then the next part is that needles and pins part where you kind of get, it's uncomfortable, but you know that if you can just get through this part, it's going to get calm. That's what a spiritual awakening is like. You go through this part where all these challenges, these needles and pins of the outer world try to burst the bubble of your awareness. And that's when we have to just send, I used to make tents and loosen my leg or whatever was falling asleep to send more energy there. I would try to do it faster instead of just waiting. I would use my mind and my consciousness and my will power and send an indomitable force of light to my leg. And it would come back faster. And then we reach that poised place of silence within us. So I say this too. Awareness is beyond thought, because true awareness comes in through the door of your opened soul. It's at the silence of the soul. Awareness is beyond thought. True awareness comes in through the open door of the silent soul. And to sit in silence at the door of your soul, there's a really wonderful chant. Sitting at the door of my soul, light the resurrecting lamp. Resurrect that consciousness. Unite yourself with that consciousness where you realize the flow between humanity is oneness. You realize we show up in our unique ways. We are different. And that's the beauty of the outer world, is this beautiful outpicturing of a cosmic intelligence that is so creative. We're in competition with no one. There's not one person on the planet who is in competition to be you. And if they are, they could be like you, but they'll never be you, and you'll never be someone else. We know this stuff. But this spiritual practice, so where do we start then? Lisa, Mr. Wizard, where do we start? It doesn't, you can read as many books as you want, and you can be very eloquent in having conversations and knowledge about all the world's philosophies and so says. That's great. I'm giving you quotes too. It's just to stimulate this inner reality. But where do we really start from the spirit ritual that brings you closer to me, closer to the infinite cosmic intelligence? And why is it so valuable? It's because at that time, it's giving all of this that is transient in nature, turning it all off and getting in tune with the cosmic force that brings all things, including ourselves, into being. So Monday nights, we have Monday night meditation from 8 to 9 tomorrow night. I invite you to join me, and I'm going to share some of the path of yoga meditation. Yoga means union, scientific union with God. And I'm going to talk a little bit about Patanjali and some of the teachings, the yama niyamas, the do's and the don'ts, kind of like the 10 Commandments, and the other paths to it and how it evolves. So join me tomorrow night if you're available, and we'll walk through that. And I'm going to do a course on this at some point later too. Share us with your friends. Let them know about the meditation tomorrow night, 8 to 9 every Monday, Eastern time. We sit in the silence and wait for the awakening of the soul to give us information. It volleys thoughts right into our consciousness. And to recognize that each one of us, you have this full realization of, like Paramahansa Yogananda said, is we've got this portable paradise that we carry within. We don't have to travel the world to be inspired or to see beautiful things. Have the entire cosmos that is available to you. Why settle for a little slice, he says, when the whole universe is yours? You already have what is necessary to get it. So thoughts to remember on this. I was thinking about, before we go into thoughts to remember, if, these books, I used to find them, honestly, I felt they were insulting a little bit. Those books about such and such for dummies. It's like Spiritual Awakening for Dummies. Maybe I should write that book. But it's we're not dummies is the thing. It's something we've not really exposed ourselves to the level of which is possible, So I would suggest push beyond your comfort zone without hurting yourself. If it's a path, kind of like music, for all the musicians out there or the painters, but musicians, there's a way you get to a place where you realize you're in love with the thing, that is, you're never, ever going to see the whole of it or get to the end of it. It's going to be a constantly surprising refrain, as one of the songs goes. My romance doesn't have to have a moon in the sky, right? Or to dance to a constantly surprising refrain. It's inexhaustible. You'll never get to the end of what music can offer. And yet we do it because we love it. It's fresh and new. It's the love. And the infinite is like that too. It's inexhaustible. It's ever new joy. You'll never get to the end of the joy, the well of joy waiting for you in the silence of your own soul. I was thinking about the great cellist Pablo Casals, who was one of the finest cellists in the world before Yo-Yo Ma, and they would probably be a lot alike. One day somebody asked him, you practice 4 hours a day. You're the greatest cellist in the world. Why do you need to practice 4 hours a day? And his response was, because I think I'm making progress. So the more that is revealed, the more will be revealed. It's these subtle layers of vibrational, dimensional awareness. And again, you'll start to have things come into your consciousness that are from more subtle levels of awareness. They're not thoughts. It's the beyond thought movement. You'll get to a place where, as you're meditating, an awareness will float into your consciousness, volleyed to you from the soul, or from pure cosmic, infinite love, intelligence, vibration itself. Love without filters. That's what awaits us in the silence of our soul. Yes, we can have it all. And then some, and then some. So thoughts to remember. Keep your appointment with God, with the infinite. If you wake up and make the infinite the very first communication, good morning, God, goddess, source, whatever you call it. I love you. Thank you for waking me up today. Like my foot. I'm awakening this body and my mind kind of at the same time. My body wakes up, then I have a couple slugs of coffee, and then my mind wakes up. But I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I always wake up, say, this day shall be the best day of my life. Today I shall start with a new determination to dedicate my devotion forever at the feet of omnipresence. That's a little snip I say every morning. That's my morning ritual. I say it before I even swing my feet out of bed. And I make tense my whole body and loosen it just to kind of get the energy flowing. Then I move. So I connect my consciousness with the body. I'm aware of where I am. And then I hurriedly move into the kitchen and get some coffee. But the point is, that's just kind of a thing. Like, what do you think of? I like the capital one. What's in your wallet? What's in your consciousness? When you wake up in the morning, pay attention to these things, and you can reprogram at any time to the dial of portable paradise. I am a portable paradise. And how will you know when you're making progress? It'll be by the way you show up and what your response is to things that are adverse. There are many people who have the idea that once you get on a spiritual path or you reach a certain level of enlightenment or awareness, spiritual awakening, nothing bad will ever happen to you again. And it depends on your definition of bad. It's not good, bad. You will still have challenges. It's how those challenges, what you meet them with. And it appears as though we move through with a particular amount of grace and poise because of the spiritual awakening. It doesn't mean we love this experience. I love when this happens, when I slip and fall on the ice. That's awesome. Let's do it again. Nobody would say that. Some people might, maybe an 8-year-old playing hockey or something. The point there is, it's how we maneuver through the things. That's where the spiritual practice is. And through the spiritual practice, the more we cut the groove of calm, poise, for real. If we're pretending that something doesn't upset us, it's still better to control yourself and try to neutralize that within yourself than to, lash out. Sometimes that's necessary too, to defend ourselves. But the point there is, when it doesn't even come up, then you're like way on it, like sleep is all right, no sleep is all right. So we were talking about last week, joy and happiness. This is a similar thing, spiritual practice to spiritual awakening. When we awaken, and one of the things Erika would say that was so profound as she was moving through her journey with cancer, it's most people and would say, why me? Not most, some, and there's no judgment around any of that. I've never had a diagnosis like that, so I don't want one either, right? Well, what she said is, why not me? It could happen to anyone. Okay, so here it is. So this is what we're dealing with now. So bringing that spiritual practice and letting it evolve to a spiritual awakening so that we can move through challenges. It's not that they won't present. It's what we do when they do, how we handle it. So make your first communication in the morning with the infinite, and then connect body, mind, spirit. If it's a Qigong practice, stretching, there are energization exercises, just consciously putting your mind, will, energy to the body, pulling spirit in like the Qigong practices. And then sort of like a dog or cat, you watch them stretching like this. Then still the body, calm the mind, and meditate, even if it's 5 minutes. If you need to read something just to stimulate the higher thoughts, the lofty thoughts, the subtle vibration thoughts, that's a fun thing to do. Just have books around wherever you sit. You'll pick something up that is going to inspire you to your portable paradise thinking in the morning. And then close your eyes and connect to the light all around you. And so those are simple things. If you join me tomorrow, I'm going to read through the Yamana Yamas, the Eightfold Path as laid out by Patanjali in the 2nd century BCE, which was before Common Era, of course. So these principles have been around for a long time, practiced in many different ways, many different countries, and many different states of consciousness, until we get to that portable paradise of consciousness where our spirit ritual practice is evidenced by our spiritual awakening, as evidenced by the way we move through beautiful life. And it requires a great deal of trust that as we take step by step, I often say, if you're, in schools, if we have children in schools that don't question their closely held beliefs, run, don't walk, run, because we're trimming it too close to the tree, so to speak. All the branches have different expressions from the same tree. So learning to challenge yourself, question yourself, until you get to that place where capital N, no, I know I am one with the infinite, and I know it loves me. I love it. I am it itself. It is me. There is no we. There is only one. And you realize it. And you'll be like Ram Dass, Be Here Now. When I picked that book up the first time, I just cracked up laughing at how many times he tried to say with linear words, what realization feels like. And of course, it's impossible, but it's a nice thing to keep in our minds, at least. It's a more positive thought to have than some of the other things we can put in there. So finding that place, finding that joy, and experiencing trust with the forces not yet seen as we dance on the edge, the inner edge as the outer edge, to bring into the material world those creations of our own soul. And this is how we are made in the image of likeness of the infinite cosmic love. Enjoy this song called Trust.
I wanna trust you in form. Bright, every rainbow after the storm. Glide through the heart and of light, with love that shines brightly all through the night. I want to trust you in form, every shape, every color, each child that's born. Dance in the openness of life, straight, stronger than mine. Touch me softly like the wind, rock me gently like the ocean, wrap around me like the moon ever glowing. I wanna trust you in form, I wanna trust you in form, like a flower bending to the sun. I want you to be my world. Yeah, yeah, I wanna trust you in form, like a bird floating on the air, like a flower bending to the sun. I want you to be the one, like a flower bending to the sun. I want you to be the one, I want you to be the one.
And opening up to this sacred trust, this sacred flow of divine light, divine energy. We know that it is good. It is blessed. We are blessed. We are one with that cosmic intelligence, the love that beats through our own hearts, our portable paradise. To trust the infinite, the unseen, as it transforms through our thoughts, trickles into our beings, materializes in the world as form. Trusting, trusting, trusting. Opening to the love. Peace and many blessings to everyone as we open to the trust, to our spiritual path, into our spiritual awakening. Om Shanti. Amen. So thank you for joining us this morning. Please do share our newsletter with your friends. It's a good way to see others enjoying some of the opportunities we have at SoulCall Global. A couple of things coming up I'm so excited about. Wherever you're joining us from, if you want to put that in the chat again too, while we're going through some, we thank you for your donations from all over the world. We are in full swing right now for our February food drive. This is where we package up non-perishables and we offer them to communities mostly in the greater Columbus area right now, but we have some in New York, and I believe California will have a little opportunity as well. But we're bringing food to people who are food insecure right now. And so February 20th, We're going to be packaging up the food on the 19th, and then on the 20th is the pickup date. And that's going to be 2 different locations, and Juice and Company in Clintonville. More information on the website. But I'll be speaking live on February 20th also at Unity of Columbus on Mays Road. So if you're in the greater Columbus area, do join us live. We're going to be handing out bags of food at that location too. So thank you for your donations. They help us to do the things we do. We're working on some more printed materials. And so your contributions help us to stay hard at work doing that and offering this consciousness of the conscious global community to the world. So no amount is too great and none is too small. So we say yes and thank you very much. If you're in need of prayer, know that we've got a fantastic prayer team here at SoulCall Global. Prayers at soulcallglobal.org. And please don't go to sleep with something you're in need of prayer for. Our prayer team and our healing team have teamed up, and we've got people sending Reiki energy, which is light energy, out to help stimulate your consciousness and the cells of your being to be able to meet those challenges like the foot falling asleep and help you supercharge and be able to move through it faster. So allow us to pray with you, and thank you for that honor. At 11 o'clock today is the SoulCall Sunday Rewind. You can get the link for the rewind, soulcallglobal.org. And it's a 30-minute check-in to see how the message hit you and what's coming up for you this week. And next Saturday, February the 5th, take the opportunity to join Natalia Zuckerman for Crafternoon. So much fun. And you'll be exploring opportunities to create something for Valentine's Day. So if you've got somebody special that you want to share a little of your own creativity from your own soul, Natalia is masterful at this, and it's always going to be fun. Crafternoon from 2 to 3:30 Eastern. More information on the website. And once again, our annual food drive. We're going to be collecting food at Unity of Columbus location and Juice Company location and another location in Worthington. More information on where you can drop off food and send donations to soulcallglobal.org to help us purchase more food. That's really great. So that's coming up on the 20th. Let's see. Oh, one other thing too is the signs and symbols of our ancestor. You can order the book in our store at soulcallglobal.org. It's a book of sacred stories from people who have transitioned, and the symbols illustrated by Natalia Zuckerman. It's a gem. It's a gorgeous book. It's perfect for Valentine's Day gifts. We expect to have it in our hands next week and in time for Valentine's Day. So we're going to be letting you know about a book launch too. I believe it'll be February 13th in the greater Columbus area someplace. So mark your calendars. And one more very special event, Natalia Zuckerman and Rebecca Sharzer are going to join us here in Columbus for a 3-hour workshop. What's it called? On Valentine's weekend. Help me out. Oh, nourish and feed your soul. There it is. Thanks. Kelly Lynn Knott is joining me today, and I love working with Kelly Lynn. Thank you so much for throwing that up there. I forgot. Nourish and feed your soul. It's a women's workshop. It's 3 hours. More information about this retreat for body, mind, and spirit. Fantastic opportunity. I'll be there too, facilitating a piece of it. And at the end of it, we're going to make chocolate. Yeah, we're going to sell it out now for sure. So join us. I thank you once again for sharing us on social media. If you go and do a Google search for SoulCall, we come up the top. It's because we're sharing information that helps us to stay spiritually charged. So we thank you for subscribing to us on YouTube, sharing the newsletter, and look for our blogs coming out and about a little bit more too. We've got lots of fun things happening. So sign up for the Soul Squad and be sure to get all the information. So I thank you for joining us this morning. Wherever you are on your spiritual path, whether you realize it or not, you're on a spiritual path. It's called you. And may your spiritual awakening bring you the realization of the divine portable paradise, which is also you. And remember, wherever you are loved. Peace and blessings.
One family, one people, one planet, one love.